What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson. And yes, I made it back safely from New Orleans. And child, I had a time. I had a time. And I'll tell you more about it throughout the show. But yes, I did go to New Orleans over the weekend. I just wanted to visit some family, catch up with some friends. Actually got a little work done and did a little networking as well. And I supported the Soul Frat Festival. If you remember a few weeks ago, I had a young man named Michael Johnson on, and he is the founder of the Soul Frat Festival, which stands for sororities and fraternities. And so I wanted to come out to New Orleans and support his event. And I'll tell you, he had a phenomenal turnout. For this to be the first festival, the Greeks turned out for it. He had vendors, live music. He did a great job. So congratulations once again to Michael Johnson, as well as Orion Phillips for putting on an amazing event. And I was really glad to have been there and witnessed the start of it. And I will be back. I also celebrated with my crew of Pyros family. Oh, we had a time. If you saw, if you follow me on Facebook, you probably saw the second line right outside of the Baroness Lounge. Oh yes, we had a time. So it was beautiful. So if I didn't catch up with you while I was in New Orleans, don't worry. I'm coming back, and I really want to make sure I catch up with everybody because I love you guys, but I was only in town for a few days, so I couldn't see everybody. But one thing we are going to do, we are going to meet my very first guest, Miss Nicole Bradley. She is an entrepreneur. She's a publisher. She's an author, and she's just doing her thing in these literary streets. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I am awesomely amazing. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for being on the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
So, tell me, well, you have so many things going on. I really don't even know where to start. But since this is the Author Lounge, let's go ahead and start with your publishing company. Now, you are a publisher and you write under two different pen names, and so I'd like to know that. How do you know which book is going to go under which pen name?
Yeah. So I write under the pen name Jazara, and I've also written under the pen name Nairi. And I also write under Nicole Bradley. So if it's anything that I'm doing inspirational or religious, that's Nicole Bradley. Uh,
Okay.
Jazara means blessed princess. And so that's where I started writing under Jazara pen name. And about 2 years ago, I partnered up, and this is going to sound real funny, but I'm all about getting the bag. So me and my ex got together and we put together a book about the hood. And so I wrote that book under Nairi, who's one of the characters that I write about. But generally, under the pen name Jazara is where I do most of my works.
Oh, okay. Now, Jazara, is that your actual middle name?
No, it means blessed princess. And so I was, oh gosh, almost like 20 years ago, just Googling really cool names. And yeah, yeah, that fits me. And I've been rolling with it ever since.
I'm not mad at you. Sometimes you just need to name yourself and claim your blessing.
Amen. Yeah, that part.
So now you have a new book. Which book is this one? Which pen name is this book under?
This book is under Jazara, Love of My Life. It came out during the pandemic, actually, 2020. And that's my latest one, all by myself, Love of My Life. It was so funny because I work with a literary mentor, Dominique Watson, and I was in Vegas in 2019 a couple times. And so one summer morning, I woke up in Vegas and she's like, "What's going on with you?" And I was like, "Ah, shoot." I knew what that meant. And so I
That
said,
means you're not on your game. That's what that meant.
so I was like, I've been working on this love story. I always wanted to do a love story. A lot of my other works are in the an urban fiction type genre, but I wanted to write a love story. And I said, but I don't know if I could pull it off. And she's like, yeah, I see, you know what, I'm kind of scared. She's like, girl, just go ahead and do it. Do it afraid. I said, okay, I'm not quite ready right now because I was on vacation in Vegas, right? So I said, I'll probably be ready in about a month or so. That was like August. I sent it to her, what I had, because I wasn't done. And she's like, oh, okay. I was like,
Oh, that's all she said was, "Oh, okay."
yeah. And it was like kind of dry. I was like, she said, would you be opposed to scrapping this and starting all over?
Wow.
Yeah, and that's nice for her. And I said, I think I might have been like 5 chapters in. I was like, okay. When your literary mentor says, would you be opposed to
Yes.
kind of have to listen? And so I said, yeah, I could start over. The one thing that I never get to at this point now, after writing several works, is getting too committed and feeling like I have to stick with something. And sometimes that's hard because you get bonded with characters and ideas, but you
Yes.
want to read it. So I'm like, just because I love it doesn't mean the readers are gonna love it. So um scrapped it, started over from scratch. Quickest book I've ever written. I think we were done by November.
Mm.
Everything, did edits around the first of the year, and by April had it out. And then entered into a contest, the Distinguished Author Literary Guild, and won best romance writing in that
Wonderful.
category. Yeah, being committed to some stuff, sometimes you have to let things go even if you're like, oh, I'm really really feeling it. um and I'm glad I did. So yeah, it
That's
was.
amazing. So now what's this story about?
So it's a love story, but let me say this, it's, even though I wanted to write a love story, it wasn't one of the, it's not, I should say, one of those fairy tale type of love story. So if you ever read a Jazara book, you're gonna get the drama. So there's drama in it, and the main character Gia is a really well put together woman. She gives people advice. She's a psychologist, and so she helps people with their mental health. But the irony of it is, as well put together as she is, her life is a hot mess.
Mm.
So she's in this relationship, and it's a toxic relationship. And the one thing that she fears, this guy has secrets hanging over her. And she's
Mm.
fearing that if those secrets get out, what if, what if, what if? And I think the biggest problem we make as people is we have a whole bunch of what ifs. And those
Right.
sometimes are just really insane, just really
Yes.
outrageous. But we create these ideas in our head. But she has to love herself enough to, number one, say, hey, not another day of this will I do. I'm not doing this again. Not one
Right.
day. To get up out the toxic relationship, excuse me, but also then take a chance on love, because then we have this character Infinity who she's dealt with her whole life on and off, and he truly does love her, but she has to break down some of those barriers, some of those
And
walls,
that can be very hard.
to love Infinity, to love herself, to get out the toxicity, and to allow somebody to love her. And so it's a love story in that way, not so much a mushy gushy love story, which is what I was going for when I those. But I was like, you know what? It's, you don't do anything typical or by the book. So it is a love story. And it's also a love story on Infinity's part, because a lot of times we want the mushy gushy love story, but we're people and we come with baggage, we come with things. And so Infinity has to understand that hey, where I entered into this movie in her life, she's got
Right.
baggage, and I if I her, I have to be there to help her carry the baggage until there's no more baggage. And
Mm.
so that's sometimes that's hard for people, you know, but they make it through, and it ends up being a really good ending.
That's that's beautiful. Now, I like the fact that you said that you weren't this wasn't supposed to be a ushy gushy love story, so to speak. Um, and I have to admit, I read a book recently. It was well written. I loved it. It was a great story, but I found myself just getting a little impatient with all of the ushy gushy parts. I just wanted to get back to that main story. I was like, okay, well, what about this? What about that? And I don't know, sometimes I think with romance novels, we get a little caught up in that, but there's a very specific audience for romance novels, and that is the formula that they want. So romance novels aren't written for everybody, they're written for a very specific audience. Would you say that your books are written for that specific audience, or are you trying to be a little bit more inclusive with yours?
I think I think for that book, it is written for those who like romance. But what's also happened with this book, and I really was not trying to do this. I I will be the first to admit I had the hardest time with an ending. Like that is just I maybe have issues, of go. And so I didn't want it to be, oh, happily ever after, boom, they're off in the sunset type. So Gia has these issues that are going on, and you get a lot of drama before you get to the end. But
Yeah.
as it wears off, one of the things, excuse me, that Gia has to learn, and I believe I was probably learning the same thing at the same time as I was writing the book, and
Mhm.
took this theme away from the book that I didn't think they would, because I thought it was really subtle, but it's hit home time and time again, which was in life, because it doesn't go like we always wanted to. It doesn't always end up with a nice bow at, sometimes you get the bow, but it's kind of messy and sloppy because
Yes.
you might get it, but it's not perfect like they do at Macy's when they wrap the gift. So she has to navigate through her journey. But one of the things that she has to learn, and this was something that my literary mentor was telling me when I first started my journey of writing this book, was do it and do it afraid. So Gia has to learn how to let some things go in life and face life, because there were so many issues hanging over her head that she was afraid of,
Mhm.
that the issues then are smack dab in her face. She can't run from them. And my thing in life, sometimes I'd be like, God, you're so awesome. You let me do a matrix on that. I could bend up under it and maneuver. She can't even do a matrix on some of this stuff. She has to face it and do it afraid, right? It's like, yeah, you're going to go through this one right here.
Yes.
Has to do it and do it afraid. And so readers really like that theme, which they find at the end of the book, like, hey, I can do it and do it afraid. And the very thing that I was afraid of that would happen, it did show up. And it wasn't that bad. I
Mm.
that drama in my head. The real life situation wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I think sometimes the story we tell ourselves in our heads is a lot worse than what the reality is.
Yes. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, how do you come up with these story ideas? I mean, do you think about certain? I know sometimes when I come up with my ideas, I won't. I may not write directly about my life, but I may think of a situation once upon a time, and then maybe build a story around that. Or sometimes I just watch reality TV and I'll be like, that would make a really interesting book. So where do you find your ideas?
um like you said, real life, some situations are real life. When I first started writing, I wrote a book, Love Don't Live Here Anymore, with these characters Malachi and Nairi. And I would be really honest, I was going through a divorce and I couldn't seem to shake that relationship. I knew I wasn't going back, but I was real clear on that, but it was just like I couldn't shake it. And
Yeah.
so I tell the story loosely in this book. And I think for me, writing was so cathartic. That's what allowed me to shake that relationship and get over it. And readers really love my characters, Malachi and Nairi. I wrote a 3-book series on them, and then I finally retired them. But yeah, and it's so funny, like, because I tell it from my perspective, of course, and they're like, I can't stand that dude, Malachi. You should have.
I love it when people hate a character. That means that you really touched home with that character. You like stepped on some toes with that person.
Malachi, whoo. And it was so funny. My mom, she's gone now, but when she read book 1, she said, and Malachi got to live after that. I said, Ma, you can't go. I was like, you know, but the real Malachi, he did make me want to lay hands on him, but I just said to myself,
Ooh.
oh wait, you can't do an itchy orange jumpsuit. So
Oh, too funny, too funny. So now you have a publishing company. Tell me a bit about the company.
so the company is Tranquil Moments, and I remember years ago, right when I was bringing out Love Don't Live Here Anymore. That was the first book in the Malachi and Nairi series, and I had written a story and submitted it to Shannon Holmes. He did an anthology, Hood to Hood, and I was asking him for advice and how to go about getting my works out, and he gave me some of the best advice anybody has ever given me. He said, "Don't let anybody paint you in a box.
Mm.
Do it how you want to do it, on your own terms." And I said, well, that means I probably wouldn't be able to go with one of these companies. And he was like, kind of like, ding, yeah,
So you're surrounded by some good people who want the best for you. That's a beautiful thing.
yes. And so I just, I reached out to people who were very gracious to share with me some learning curves that they went through. And I said, I'm going to do it on my terms and do it how I want to do it. And best advice. So I love it, publishing on my own terms, and I don't answer to nobody but me.
I hear you.
And
Well,
when,
we have a question here. Jen Lovely. She wants to know how long you've had your publishing company.
oh, probably since 2008. Yeah, since about 2008, I've been publishing, and I've helped other people publish, but I found that I like really just doing my own thing. Working with other people, I love people, don't get me wrong.
You're about to answer my question because I was just going to ask, do you only publish your books or do you publish other people?
I have published other people, and now I'm at a point where if the project really resonates with me, I will. But overall, no, I will help other people like I was helped to start their own and do it on their own. But what I found was sometimes I would get people who would have these manuscripts that weren't done. They didn't want to do the work. And then they wanted me to, well, could you do that? I'm like, no, that's your baby. I can't
Right, right.
give birth to your baby, because then it's not going to be your baby and I'm going to want credit for it. And see, that's not going to work. Because if I, and I have done some ghostwriting before, but I'm really selective about that because I know what my style and my voice is, and I'm like,
Yes,
I'm writing for you. It's got to sound like you, and it's got to be you. And so, I don't want to get on your project and take it over, and then you're like, oh, that's not what I was trying to do.
that
So
makes sense.
I really do like helping people and nurturing them through the process. And because I used to be a teacher and taught for over 20 years, I'm real good with and feel real comfortable with saying, I can't do your work, not gonna do your work.
And when you're doing something like publishing or publicizing or editing, you do have to have a bit of a strong backbone to be able to tell your client the truth, especially if that truth is going to help them be better.
Yes.
And sometimes they don't always want to hear that. Sometimes people think that they're celebrities before they're actually celebrities. But it's good to be able to tell them the truth, and in the long run they're going to respect that.
Yes. And that was one thing that I would come up against a lot. People would say, well, I don't understand why I'm not a New York Times bestseller. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay.
Have you read the books that are on the New York Times bestseller list?
Yeah. And you don't want to do the work for your baby, but I'm like, where would they have discovered it? Please help me. But
Oh my goodness, too funny, too funny. So now, I know we're running out of time, but I still wanted to touch on the other business that you have, the
yes,
candle business.
I
So tell me about that.
I've always loved candles, and I just love candles and scents. And I also have a background in massage therapy, and I want to share this with people who are viewing, because your attitude in life has to really be right. And so, how I got introduced to candles and making candles, I almost missed my business right here. I almost missed the blessing. I
Mm,
in massage therapy school, had to do an externship, not an internship, but it's called an externship. You go to the spa, you do what an intern would do, but it's called extern. So I went to this one particular spa, and the owner did not want me to work on her clients.
mm.
And she said, but I'm going to show you how to be able to have the spa experience carry over to home. That burnt me. I was there for 8 hours that day. It burnt me up because I'm like, I'm supposed to be here doing massages. She said, I'm still going to sign off on your hours, blah, blah, blah. That day, she took me in. They had a lab there, which looked like a kitchen, but it was really their lab. She showed me how to make body scrubs, body butters, told me
Nice.
candles, all this kind of stuff, and showed me how to do it, let me do it there, and that kind of thing.
It seems like you had mixed feelings because on one hand, she didn't want you working with her customers, but
Right.
then on the other hand, she was teaching you how to basically start your own business.
Yes. And she was also, because, and that's why I say you got to have the right mind. And I almost missed my blessing. Because for an hour, I was livid.
Yes.
Excuse me? Yeah, I was livid. But then something in me said, okay, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
So now you got to take this experience and dive through it later on. So she showed me that day, you're a massage therapist. You can use your hands to massage, but you can also use your hands to create other things, other avenues of capital, and not be, as Shannon had told me maybe about a year or two prior to this, not being painted in a box, not just being limited. So I'm the massage therapist who now creates candles. Our candles can be used to massage the oil into your skin.
Oh, nice. I've seen those candles where you can just drop the wax onto the skin and massage it in.
Yes, and we have a running joke over here. We're not responsible for what happened some months later. Y'all was doing all that massaging that oil into. Nope, that is responsible. And
Too
so
funny.
that
So, now wait, now you got to tell me. My favorite scent is jasmine. I love jasmine candles. I love jasmine perfume, jasmine body butter. Jasmine is my jam. So tell me, you have a jasmine scented candle.
let me tell you, not only do we have one, it is called Audacious Ambition.
Ooh.
This candle, I love it because it's so soft and subtle, but it makes bold statements. I mean, I
Ooh. Okay.
contradiction, but that is one of my favorites. It is one of my favorites. We're gonna have to get you a candle.
Yes, I'm about to say I'm gonna have to put my order in because I need my candle.
I think you will love it. I This one is like when I put the massage candle oil on, and we make room sprays, body butters, and different things. But when I spray this, it's like, yeah, grown lady here now. Can't nobody mess with her. Ain't nobody touching her. Like, it's almost like you just step into the room and it's like, I'm here and I don't even have to say anything. I love that.
Your scent makes the statement.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
our business. Step up in there. You don't even have to say nothing. It's like, I feel like Tupac, all eyes on me.
Yes. Now we did put your link to your candles in the chat. NicoleBradleyCandles.com. Right now the link for your book is on the screen, but also the candles, Nicole Bradley Candles, is on there. So we have two links where you can support this lovely young lady. You can get her books, and you say you have the book with you. Show us the book.
Yes.
Oh, pretty.
Yes.
Yeah. So we all right. So we see the book, and then we also have Nicole Bradley candles. And are your candles 1 week, 2 weeks? Because if you watch Real Housewives of Potomac, that was a thing. Whether it was 3 weeks, 5 weeks, I think you're gonna start a fire with 5 weeks, but
I
whatever.
2 weeks. I love 2 weeks. Some of our bigger vessels, we do have a vessel that's in the Louis Vuitton imitation bucket purse. That
Ooh.
4 week candle, and it burns amazing and it burns even. So we have I love the 2 weeks. Our sample ones, they're like 2 ounces. They're 1 week. But yeah, multi-week is the way to go. They burn just even.
Oh. Well, we got a comment that's from Hallie Bradley. I like her name. It almost sounds like Halle Bailey, but it's Hallie Bradley. She says she loves the candles because they smell so good.
They do. And Hallie, she may be biased because she's my daughter, but I have two daughters, Hallie and Amber, and I both made them their own fragrance. So Hallie has
Oh, so
her
they have their own signature fragrance.
own.
I love it.
They're so spoiled.
Wait a minute, now that's your fault now.
Yeah, I have to take ownership.
Yeah, that's okay. You know what? We spoil our daughters. You know what? Our daughters should be spoiled by their parents. That way they know how they want to be treated when they go into the world.
Indeed, I so agree with that.
Yes. Well, I can't believe it is already the end of the half hour.
I can't either. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh no, thank you for being on the show. Now tell the people how they can reach out to you. I know we put your websites up, but how can people stay connected with you?
I am Nicole Bradley Candle Co. on Instagram, Nicole Bradley Candle Co. on TikTok, and Nicole R. Bradley on Facebook, and Nicole Bradley on LinkedIn. and you'll see the banner. You'll see those symbols, and so you'll know you have the right Nicole Bradley.
Awesome. And your if we go to your website, Nicole Bradley Candles, can we find all of your social media handles there?
Yes, yes,
Wonderful. So let's support these candles, people. Let's support these books. What we are doing with this show is we are trying to take people to those bestseller lists that they always dream of. You know, nobody writes a book today and then they're on New York Times bestseller list tomorrow. It happens every once in a blue moon, but not really all the time. So, you know, it's up to us to support our authors and get them where they need to be. As you can see, and we didn't even get a chance to get into that, you had a literary mentor to make sure that you were doing the things that you needed to do to not only write your book, but to write it well and to get it out there. And so I congratulate you and I thank you for thinking so much of the craft that you wanted to make sure that you did it right.
yes.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So thank you. Thank you for what you do for the literary industry. Thank you for what you're doing for the candle industry. And I want my candle. I will be in touch soon for that.
You
But
again.
uh-oh, I didn't hear you. What you say?
I said definitely, and thank you again for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, you enjoy the rest of your evening. God bless you. And let's stay connected.
Definitely.
All
Good
right.
night.
Good night. Bye-bye. All right, y'all. That was Nicole Bradley. She is a publisher, she's an author, and she's a candle curator. Make sure that you support this lovely young lady because she's doing some amazing things in a bunch of different arenas. Now, speaking of people doing amazing things in a bunch of different arenas, I'm about to introduce you to my next guest, Miss Trinese Duplessis. Yay! Hey, Trinese.
Hey, hey, Dr. Rhonda Lawson, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
What's going on here? Thank you for having me on the show. I'm doing
Oh,
good. I
thank you
had
for
a
being here.
well-rested day. I slept all day because I wanted to be ready and refreshed for this amazing interview that we're about to do. So I appreciate you once again for giving me a platform to talk about my projects. I'm sorry I missed you this weekend, but it's all
Yeah,
good.
I know. I knew I should have called you sooner. I said, let me call her because maybe I can just swing by and get it on my way to the airport. But, but I've been watching you for a long time. I've been knowing you since I moved back
That's
to the
okay.
United States from Belgium. In fact, I think I met you before I moved back from Belgium, because my daughter was in your play.
Probably so. I think we
She was in, oh goodness.
Sweet Willis Cotton Club. She was in two
No, she was in
productions.
your play that you did before Sweet Willie's Cotton
She
Club.
was. She was in Sweet Willis Cotton Club.
Yeah, what was that other one though? Oh my goodness.
Was it Mama T's Christmas?
Yes, it was Mama T's Christmas. That's exactly
Wait a
what it
minute.
was.
It was Mama T's Christmas.
Yes, it was Mama T's Christmas. She was
Okay.
in that play, and that's how we met each other.
Yeah, it was Mama T's Christmas and Sweet
Yeah.
Willis Cotton Club.
Yes, I'm very glad that we've stayed connected all this time. So I met you as a playwright. But then you went to become a chef. Like during COVID, I guess we couldn't do any more plays. So you went to your talent and you started cooking and you started a very successful business. And then you went from being a chef to a
Yes.
cookbook author. And then after you became the cookbook author, you went back to doing plays. So you've been a busy lady.
Yeah.
So how did all this come about?
I
We
have
gotta see
been
for that
really
timeline.
busy. God has blessed me. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you. Okay, so of course, the pandemic hit us in 2020, right? Am I correct? About
Yes.
2020?
Yes.
And I decided that I didn't want to work out of my 9 to 5. I was on my job for about 14 years, and they were just giving me the runaround. What happened was they were changing my shifts, so it didn't allow me to creative activities. So I couldn't do any plays because I had different things that I was doing. So when the pandemic hit, I didn't want to deal with the public anymore.
Yes.
So I took a leave of absence, and and for that year I said I'm going to pick up my other gift. All of the restaurants were shut down. You couldn't eat anywhere. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to provide a service. God gifted me with cooking since I was a little girl. And I said, I'm going to provide a service. I'm going to pick up my catering business because, as you know, in 2018, many people didn't know I was doing oratory catering part-time while I was working at my 9 to 5. So it was only a part-time thing. And then when I left my job in 2020, it went full-fledged, and I put all of my energy into that business. And the playwriting got on the back burner because nobody was going in the theaters, nobody was sitting in the audience. COVID kind of like separated everybody. Am I breaking up? Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
So, okay, great. Okay. So, yeah, I can hear you. It just seemed like it's breaking up just a little bit, but it's okay. So oratory catering just went full-fledged. And then I had something in my spirit that said, you know what? Take it a step further. Why don't you write a cookbook? It had been show people how to cook. Those people who don't want to know how to cook, and especially young people. I wanted to bring families back together at the kitchen table.
Yes.
And and speaking of kitchen table, shout out to Diana with Kitchen Table Publishing, who helped me publish the book. I really, Diana Riley, thank you so much for bringing the vision. And you were the one who actually planted the seed, because I told you I wanted to write a cookbook, and I was having some troubles with a past publisher that I wasn't satisfied with. Not to knock anybody, but I just was looking for somebody that really knew what my vision, and somebody had experience with a cookbook. And you shouted Diana Riley out, and it's been a blessing ever since. She knew exactly what I needed. She knew what she pushed me to do the storytelling, because I'm already a writer, already write plays, I have a bunch of short stories. So she already knew that I was a writer. So why don't you do your recipes as a storytelling cookbook? And I tell you, Dr. Rhonda, it's been a blessing. I don't know. It's when God wakes up those gifts inside of you, you just have to go ahead and activate them. Because when you don't want to do something anymore, and it makes you tired, it makes you mentally drained, it doesn't make you happy. When you start doing things that don't make you happy, you don't produce. So my job wasn't doing that 9 to 5, not shout out to all the 9 to 5s. 9 to 5s bring great income, but that particular 9 to 5 wasn't working for me anymore. It was time, because I think the pandemic pushed out a lot of creatives, Dr. Rhonda. When you say a lot of people, TikTok, so many businesses are on TikTok. So many people have birthed out of their gifts during the pandemic, and so many people are working from home and doing the things that God set them up to do. So I'm really proud of everybody, not just myself, not just you. I'm proud of everybody that decided to step out on faith and say, hey, I'm going to use my God-given talent, make people laugh. We have all these cooking tutorials. We have all this comedy. Do you see the comedy that's on? Do you see the comedy that's on TikTok and all these new comedians and all these skits? It really inspired me because
Look, I know you're shouting the other people out, but you are pure comedy. How many characters have you created besides Mama T?
Oh, okay. So Mama T is a beloved character. I got to get back to characters too. Mama T is a beloved character. Then we have Night War Tamika.
Yeah.
Then we have Paco. I even had, but you never seen this one. This one was done years ago. His name is Billy Bob. He is a racist in today's time because he thinks
goodness,
everybody black should know how to read. Girl,
I can't.
Rhonda, when I did the show, I had to stop myself from laughing for doing this character because it was just pathetic and hilarious at the same time. But let me say something about Paco. Believe it or not, I don't know if you saw these pictures, Rhonda, but my sister and I, we got comedians all in my family. God bless the day. My grandfather was the greatest comedian, and that's why I get my comedic gifts from him. But me and my sister dressed up as guys when I was like 17, maybe 16, 17, something like that. We dressed up as guys. And that's when Paco was born. I didn't know his name was going to be Paco, but people thought that was Ice Cube's brother. I'm looking like Ice Cube. Rhonda, we went to school. We took the picture. My little brother took the pictures. We brought the pictures to school and showed it to the girls and the guys. I said, hey, look at my brothers. And they were like, wow, they look good. So Paco has been in me since a teenager. And he is hilarious. I tell you, when I do it, my husband and my son, they laugh at me all the time. There's a character that I really transform. But these characters, people are telling me, when are you going to bring these characters back out? You've been on sabbatical because the catering has just kind of took over a little bit everything.
Yes, the catering has taken over. I don't even know if you planned on this happening this way, but it's like you started cooking and then the cooking just took off. And now you actually have products in what, 3 different stores, 3 different grocery stores?
We got to talk about that. Yeah, so I have a dry gumbo roux that's making waves. I have it at 4 local grocery stores. 4, and I'm gonna be adding some more. But the gumbo roux was actually I created that gumbo roux. This is 24, actually 3 years ago. I was playing with it, and I was giving people a tease in 22 that I'm going to come out with this product. And Lord and behold, I wanted people to make good, authentic gumbo. You know, Rhonda, gumbo roux takes time. It takes a lot of time, and if you burn it, you have to start all over again.
Yep.
And I was thinking, how can I make a product that can help people and also save time and still be a good, authentic gumbo? So I came out with the dry roux. There's no salt in the roux.
No salt.
Rhonda, already packaged up. No salt. And I'm going to tell you, the elders, because I've been doing a lot of free gumbo tastings, and it's been a huge success. A lot of the elders, when they taste the gumbo, you know what the first thing they say? It's not salty. I don't taste any salt.
Yeah.
You see, because I have high blood pressure. I have all these different things. I can't eat high sodium foods. So I thought about everybody, and you're going to get a flavor without the salt. So the dry gumbo is available at those of you listening locally. It's available at Ken Seckles on Esplanade. It's available at the Bromart in River Ridge on Jefferson Highway. It's available at the Bromart in Metairie on Severn. And it's also located in a Circle Food store, which is one of the oldest grocery stores. So it's at 4 local grocery stores, and you can get it right off the shelf where the gumbo roux are. But I have a lot of first-time gumbo makers. All nationalities have said, I made my first pot of gumbo and it was easy. I even have I'm sorry, I don't even have a pack in front of me, but the instructions are on the back of it, where I give you suggested instructions on how to make it. So, Rhonda, everything is about God's time. I'm really happy that I put this product out, because I see it more as a ministry. Not just a product. It's changing people's lives. It's like, wow, I made my gumbo. Even an elder lady at the gumbo tasting that I just did at Bromart Saturday was a huge success. We sold out of all of the product. An elder lady that's known for making gumbo for years and years and years. This lady stopped in her tracks and stood there and got 2 samples of the gumbo, Rhonda. And she said, you know what? She told her daughter, get her number, because I'm through making gumbo. She's going to be my gumbo. The lady was so impressed when you have the elders, she was she was Rhonda. She was so impressed. She kept eating that gumbo because I gave her a lid to put it on so she could eat it later. But she said, no, I'm gonna eat this right here in front of you. And she ate
Oh,
2 bowls,
wow.
and she said she don't want to make any gumbo anymore after she met me.
I try to consider myself a pretty good gumbo expert. I mean, people like my gumbo, but I'm willing to try somebody else's if it's gonna make my life a little easier.
Yes.
So that's what. So now, how does
Yes,
this
yes,
gumbo
ma'am.
work?
Yes, ma'am. And
Because
yeah,
I know how to make gumbo where you put the flour in the oil and you get that to a nice brown color. I like to get it a little darker brown because by the time you pour
okay,
the liquids in, it lightens up a little bit. But like you
okay.
said,
Well, yeah,
you
use
can't
what
walk
I
away
like
from
too.
that. Hmm?
No, ma'am. You can't walk. The original way of making it is flour with oil. You got to stir that thing into, and a lot of people like the peanut butter color. That's the color they're looking for. But I'm like you. I like mine's a little darker. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
that's the way of making it on the stove, and that's the longer way, but you can't walk it. But the way I do it is already packaged. The flour is already browned for you in the package already. And
Mm.
have the seasons and herbs and everything that you need. I got bay leaves, I got all of those herbs, and if you're allergic to certain things, it's on the back of it what's in it. But it's already packaged. You just dump that in your roux. I'm sorry, you dump it in your stock. I don't
Okay.
like water as just a regular stock because I think it's yeah. The people do use water. Don't get me wrong, in it. But if you're doing a seafood gumbo, you would use seafood stock. And if you're
Yes.
locally, you can borrow your shrimp heads
That's what I
and you
do.
can get your stock that way. But if they have, yes, you can, and you can do the stock over on the shelf. Okay, the shock. Okay, you can get the seafood stock on the shelves. And doing a chicken and sausage gumbo, use chicken broth. Do it the school way. I borrow my chicken. The chicken is going in the gumbo. Everybody don't gumbo. Sometimes I do. If I'm putting chicken in the gumbo, I use a chicken stock from scratch. So
Mm-hmm.
I know everybody don't have time to do everything from scratch. I understand that.
No, that's a
But
long time.
if you're at home and you have time, and especially if you have some guests, it's a lot of time. But
Yeah.
the gumbo roux is
Trinese.
going to take at least an hour, chop an hour off of your time.
Yes.
At least an hour
Yes.
and a half.
Well,
Yes.
Trinese, I got to make you laugh because
Yes, ma'am.
there's a scene in Mama T's Christmas.
Off of your time. So the gumbo,
Can you hear me?
Mama T's Christmas.
Yes. There's a scene in Mama T's
I'm
Christmas.
sorry, you broke up a
I
little
know
bit.
it's breaking up a little bit, so bear with me. But
Okay.
there's a scene where
Mhm.
Kayla, which is
Okay.
the character my daughter played, put your green pepper card
Yeah.
in the gumbo. And she said, this girl that messed up my $100 pot of gumbo. And I never thought about how much it costs to make gumbo until I heard that line. And I'm like, she's right. Gumbo does cost $100 to make.
Yes,
I never forgot that.
Rhonda, that gumbo do cost.
Mhm.
And then you know what? That's good. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a blessing when people can remember scenes from your work. Because I've got people years ago, you like just like you remember that scene. So many people, even stuff I didn't forgot. People remind me. You remember when you did this scene? I'm like, wait a minute. When you're doing so much stuff, times that your memory goes in the back of your head and you don't remember everything. But people
Yeah.
come to you years later and say, hey, I remember that scene. I remember that scene. But now that you brought it up, I do remember that Mama T scene about her messing up my $100 pot of gumbo. Can I tell you a quick story? My grandmother, she's the one that taught us everything in the family. My grandmother, every year it's in the cookbook too. It's in the cookbook or this story where not this particular story, but just kind of like around when the family come around. But she cook a big pot of gumbo only for Thanksgiving and Christmas, just twice a year, and everybody.
Yeah.
eagerly awaited for that. So this one Christmas, she cooked a big pot. It's so big with every kind of meat in it, right? Just delicious. One time, somebody in the family, relatives that were supposed to put the gumbo up, something happened, and the whole pot spoiled. Was that a heartbreak that year? Woo! Oh, she was heartbroken.
Yes.
She was hard. Everybody was heartbroken. She was heartbroken. That gumbo was gone. It was gone. So that's why it's important. And I just want to tell people, when you do cook gumbo, so you want to spoil your gumbo, that now we're talking about gumbo. When you cook your gumbo and you want it to cool, and you eat it, after you eat it, take it off the stove, put a nice cool towel on your countertop, set the pot on top of the towel. And if you're going to divide that thing up, don't put the whole pot in the refrigerator. Take it and put it in containers, okay? And let it cool. Let it get, cool down, with the top off the containers, and let it cool down. And then later on, put it in the refrigerator. Never put a hot pot of gumbo in the refrigerator. Never do it right away, because it's going to spoil. So that was just a little tip
That's
I had for gumbo makers that have had spoiled pots, and that may be the reason.
Tell people why it was spoiled, because isn't it because the temperature is dropping too quickly? If you put the hot pot
it's
into
dropping
the refrigerator
too quickly, exactly. And exactly, it's clashing. It's clashing, and it's going to spoil everything, especially if you have seafood and all that meat in there. It's not going to work out for you. It happened to me, and it happened to me once in my life, where I had to Rhonda. It could have been a disaster. Hired me to care for her, and we had gumbo, and for some reason we did it some kind of way. I might have put it in the fridge too quickly. Something happened, and when we were putting those things in the chafing dishes, we smelled it. I saw it bubbling. It could have been a nightmare.
I was going to ask you, how did you know it was spoiled?
Just me being a cook, you can just tell the look and those bubbles. When you start seeing it bubbling, I said, oh my God. So I tasted, it was spoiled. I told my friend that hired me, I said, Lord, I said, this gumbo is spoiled. I cannot serve this to the people. We had to get rid of it quickly.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
That would have been so bad, Rhonda. It was heartbreaking. So I learned quickly how to navigate that gumbo and make sure it never spoils again. But I have all those recipes. If you are not gumbo, I have all those recipes in my cookbook. We're cooking with that New Orleans love. So I got about 25 recipes in here, and we have an okra gumbo recipe in this book. So if people still don't know how to make gumbo, I have it right in here.
All right. Yep. So now, all of you, if you want to get this book, the link is in the chat. It is available on Amazon, and it's also available, I believe, on your website. Is that correct, Trinese?
Yes. The link is in on Amazon. Yep. I'm gonna let you finish.
No, I was just asking. So it's available on Amazon. It's also available on your website. Is it available in any of the bookstores in New Orleans?
Yes, Community Bookstore. I just had my book signing there 2 weeks ago. It is the oldest African-American bookstore. Shout out to Sister Vera for allowing me to do my book signing there. But you can get your copy, your signed copy. I signed all the books. So if you didn't get to come to the book signing, it's right there on Bayou Road, Community Bookstore. So if you want to get the book locally, if you don't want to go to Amazon and things like that, and you want to support our African-American business, please go see Miss Vera. And she has some other amazing books in there and other products that you can get out of there as well. Yep. Yes. So the book, and Rhonda, I didn't realize, Walmart picked the book up. I have like 19 different websites there that is selling this book. I just happened to be online and just like, wait a minute. Omar, you're selling my book. So I'm just happy about what the book is doing for people. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. You just never know. And I think, I just want to inspire somebody, as you inspired me, Dr. Rhonda, because you have like 5 or 6 books, I believe, 5 or 6 books. But this is my first cooking book. I never thought that my first published book would be a cooking book, but it just happened that way. But I want to inspire anybody that if you have the seed, you have the thought that you want to write a book. Dr. Rhonda, she can help you, right, Dr. Rhonda? You can help. At least you can help with the fiction and non-fiction novels. But if you want to do a cookbook, Diana Riley, she can help you. So we got all these beautiful people that's going to help your vision come to light. So I'm just excited that
I was just saying, Diana Riley is my good friend, and she is. If I send you to Diana, I know she's going to do a good job.
Diana, oh, she will take care of you. She was so patient, and you definitely need a publisher that can be a little patient with you, because we kept changing this stuff. We kept going back and forth, and I'm like, with my busy life and trying to navigate that and things like that. So she really worked well with me, and she really got it. You know how it is, Rhonda. When you're so busy, because you got multiple hats as well, and you're navigating so many things. Sometimes you got to put stuff on hold. You just got to postpone things. So just have my next stage play is going to be in June, between June and July. Do Birds Fly in the Ghetto is my next project. So I'm going to be doing a casting call for that. Yes. So I haven't left the theater community alone. I haven't left my writing alone. It's just on the back burner while I, do my catering thing. But it's phenomenal. I'm looking forward to it. That title, I got that title about 5 years ago, Rhonda. Sometimes you can hold on to a title until you actually make it work. Yeah, I got that title about 5 years ago, and I said, you know what, it's time for me to do this production. So I'm looking forward for that. So do Birds Fly in the Ghetto. Y'all look out for the advertisement for that. So I'm just excited. It's going to be a great year. We're already going into the summer almost. So before you know it, it's going to be June, and then we got 6 months left in 2024. So it's not too late for everybody to get those bucket lists checked off. Yep. So I'm excited.
So where can people find information about the casting call? If they're in New Orleans, or even if they're in Mississippi or Texas and they want to drive on in, where can they find information about the casting call?
Well, we're usually it's on my T Duplessis Entertainment page. I'm going to what I'm going to do is probably create some type of link or something like that, so they can just click on it and see it. But it's usually I do a lot of advertisement on that page. But I do, the old school way, we do emails, like if people want to email me and things like that. But my T Duplessis Entertainment page is public, so you'll get to see those notifications on the casting call. So I'm looking forward to hiring some dynamic people. Maybe some of my old cast members will come back on board. If they fit those roles, we're gonna make another phenomenal play. And just to piggyback on the last play we did, There's a Shortage in Heaven. We did that in Tennessee. Ron, I don't know if you knew that, but we did do a road show back in September. So, and that was a success. Yeah. You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did do a road show in Tennessee. So, I'm sorry?
I said, I still keep in touch with folks in New Orleans. I heard you had gone to Tennessee. That's wonderful.
Of course you do. Yes. So we went on a roll with that, and people were flawed by the production. So I'm shout out to the cast for doing an amazing job on that production. So I'm just looking forward to doing some more work, and whatever God has next, Rhonda. So again, I thank you for having me on this show.
Well, I thank you for being here, and if you want to come back and promote the play once you're ready to move forward with that, I would love to have you.
Oh, thank you, Rhonda. You know, you just to say thank you to letting people like myself come on your show and just opening up a platform, doing this from your heart. And you're truly a blessed woman. And I think, you know, godly connections take you really, really far. So I just appreciate you for all of these years that we've stayed connected. And tell your daughter I said hello. And my son is going off to college next month to Grambling. You remember my baby boy, right?
Yes. Your baby. He's
So
not a
he'll be
baby
going off to
anymore.
Grambling as next in a month. So yeah, so you know, I'm going through what you went through with Beautiful. So it's my turn.
Absolutely.
So we're excited about that. So yeah, I'm gonna be an empty nester. Yeah, I'm gonna be an empty nester, Rhonda.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Yep.
Enjoy your time. Enjoy your time. Because I mean,
Yes,
he might come
indeed. So
back like
yeah,
mine came back.
yours came back.
Yeah. Yeah.
She
She finished
she
school
came
and
back.
moved to DC. She's like, she told me I was not leaving
Well,
her
you
in the
know
South.
what?
So she came up.
Well, you know what? That's good that she has a relationship with her mom, and I'm not mad at her because y'all are doing great in DC. I'm gonna have to make a visit up there because I would love to come because like I had a cousin that lived there. I was telling you that the other day. So I'm glad you're up there, and I'm glad Beautiful is up there with you. So that's a blessing. Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Trinese,
These
thank you
children are
once
something
again
else, I
for
tell
being
you.
on the show. Absolutely. Thank you for being on the show. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
everything. The book, the rule, the upcoming play. You're doing amazing things, and just keep moving in excellence.
Yes.
And great things are going to happen for you. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Rhonda Loss. I'll see you soon. God bless you.
God bless you. You take care. Bye-bye. All right, y'all. That was Trinese
Bye-bye.
Duplessis. She is a chef. She is an entrepreneur. She is a playwright and doing amazing things in the city of New Orleans. And so I'm very glad to have had her on the show. And I'm glad for all of you who joined the show today and asked questions and participated. That's what this is all about. So I ask you, as I do every week, help us to make the show continue to grow. We actually hit 300 followers on YouTube this past week. So we want to try to double that. So tell your mama, tell your friends, tell your auntie and all them to come to the Horizons Author Lounge where we are promoting independent authors each and every week. And just in case you forgot, the deadline for the Meet the World Image Solutions Graduating Senior Scholarship is April 30th. I've already started receiving entries, and I want to make sure that your teenager is included. So if you have a teenager who's heading to college soon, make sure they apply for this scholarship. We are giving away $1,000 to a graduating senior anywhere in the country. You don't have to be in DC. You don't have to be in New Orleans. Just make sure that you scan this QR code, get the application completed, and make sure that your kids compete for this scholarship. I want them to get this money. Don't have them miss out on it because they don't feel like writing an essay or they don't feel like filling out a application. We see that so much. Make sure that they are participating and applying for every scholarship possible because every dollar counts. So that's all we have for this week. Thanks once again for being a part of the show. Don't forget to join me tomorrow night on Black Authors Matter TV. You can find us on the National Black Book Festival Facebook page. And we're going to be talking to even more authors. So God bless you guys. You have a wonderful evening. And looking forward to seeing you tomorrow night. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. So have a great week. God bless you.